Hey, if you're new, I want to welcome you. My name is Joey, and we are a community of people who are so shaped by the life and teachings and person of Jesus. And my greatest hope is that you'd have a real encounter with a real living God today. I want to get my cards out on the table early. Today's about to be a message, y'all. Today's about to be one of those that's like up in your grill. I remember when I was in high school and someone showed me what was actually going on in this part of the Bible, what was going on underneath the hood, underneath the surface in this text, and that it was so much more than just some dirgy poem that made you sad and depressed, that there was actually something going on here. I've never been able to unsee it. It has profoundly shaped my entire life. I consistently come back to this part of scripture. I think about it all the time. It shows up in my dream. It haunts my decisions. It shapes the way that I see reality, this portion of scripture. And in total honesty, today is a relatively confronting message, okay? We sent out an email out to parents of young kids, letting them know that if you brought your kids into service today, that they might hear some stuff that you might not be ready for them to hear about, because what's getting ready to happen in this section of scripture is there's gonna be this ultimate confrontation about everything that you're pursuing, everything that you're chasing after, everything that you're looking for. Today's an invitation to take a long, hard look at what every advertiser and every influencer and every marketer is trying to sell you. And for you to ask yourself, will it do it? Will it produce the good life? For anybody who's actually willing to be very honest with themselves and have an existential crisis today, to get out of the monotony of the rat race and to really evaluate everything that you're pursuing and dreaming and chasing after. To take a long, hard look if you got it, if you did it, if it happened, every single pursuit of happiness, if you that you're chasing, if it came true, everything that you're supposing would give you the good life, every acquisition, every resolution, every step, every backyard project, every trip, every upgrade, every new outfit, everything currently sitting in your Amazon shopping cart, all of it, if you got it, if you got everything, the dream house and the dream car and the dream woman and the dream man and the dream body and the dream square footage, if you won the Lifetime Achievement Award at work and you set a world record and you did it, every last bit of it, you got all the status and all the fortune and all the fame that you wanted, in the end, would it give you the good life? And today is an invitation for you to consider deeply the things that you're chasing after. And today may be the day that recalibrates your entire existence. We are in a study called The Good, Messy, Beautiful Life. And we're studying the ancient book known as Ecclesiastes. Let me just say Ecclesiastes. And it means something like a gathering. It's where we get our word church from. And it's this idea that this guy named Coeleth, say Coeleth. And he's the writer, the preacher, the speaker, and he has ecclesiasted or gathered together his experiences of life, and now he's going to share them with the ecclesia, with the gathering. And so these are my findings from this thing called life, and now I'm sharing them with a group of people. And most scholars believe that Coeleth is King Solomon. Say King Solomon. It's the popular mainstream thought in theology that Coeleth was King Solomon. And so I'll use those interchangeably today, but what you're getting ready to see is that King Solomon's getting ready to run an experiment, an existential, extravagant experiment. He is going to turn life upside down and inside out to try and find, where's the good life? The experiment starts in Ecclesiastes 1:13. He says this: I applied my heart to seek and to search out by wisdom all that is done under heaven. Translation: Solomon is getting ready to turn over every leaf and look under every rock and behind every door and chase every lead and follow every clue and walk down every road and try every piece of chocolate in the box that is life. No stone unturned, no vice untried, no experience unhad. Now, some important background information for you. Solomon is the king. He's the son of King David, who's just died, and now Solomon has become king. In 2 Chronicles 1, God comes to Solomon in the middle of the night and he says, ask me for whatever you want. Solomon says, give me wisdom. God said, because you asked for wisdom, done. If you'd asked for anything else, wouldn't have given it to you. But because you asked for wisdom, I'm gonna give you wisdom and throw in everything else. 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 11 says it like this: God answered Solomon, because this was in your heart, and you've not asked for possessions or wealth or honor or the life of those who hate you. And you've not even asked for a long life, but have asked for wisdom and knowledge for yourself, that you may govern my people over whom I've made your king. Wisdom and knowledge are granted to you. But I will also give to you riches and possessions and honor, such as none of the kings who had were before you, and none after you have the like. And so Solomon's getting ready to run this extravagant existential research project. But it's important for you and I to know that you ain't got it like Solomon. And you ain't got it like Solomon, okay? He has a wealthy, generous benefactor, an angel investor named Yahweh. Yahweh God is funding this research project. And so with a blank check, he is getting ready to go and knock on every door that life has to offer and say, is the good life here? Is the good life here? Is the good life here? And he's got the money to do it. So Solomon knocks on door number one, knowledge. Let me hear you say knowledge. Understanding, intelligence, education, intellect. Verse 16, I said in my heart, I've acquired great wisdom, surpassing all who were over Jerusalem before me. And my heart has had great experiences of wisdom and knowledge. And so imagine it, okay? Really try to imagine it. He's on this pursuit. And so Solomon starts studying. He immerses himself in intellectualism, in history, philosophy, politics, economics, the arts, and God makes him proficient. So he's got great reading comprehension. He's soaking it up. He's running with Freud and Nietzsche and Socrates and Aristotle. He's reading the Epic of Gilgamesh. He goes to the greatest schools and reads the greatest books and sits with the sages, the gurus, the rabbis, the magi. He gets his master's degree, doctorate degree, double major. He contemplates reason and rationale and logic. He's podcasting, life hacking. Andrew Huberman, Simon Sinek, James Clear, Malcolm Gladwell. He builds a hall for doing nothing but talking about new ideas with people who graduated from the Ivies, but it's Jerusalem, so it's called the Olives. Get it? That's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny. He's smart. He's quoting philosophers using big SAT prep words, anthropology, epistemology, etymology, ontology, psychology. Who knew there were so many ologies? Solomon did. If you could read it, he read it. You name it, he's studied it. He's eloquent, profound, well-read, discoursed and debated in the symposium. But then interestingly, the text takes a turn. I applied my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. Solomon says, I got smart, then I got dumb. American professor of philosophy at Boston College, Peter Kraft, notes that Solomon tried the highbrow approach to wisdom. He went to Ivy League, made partner at the firm, private school, Tolstoy at night before bed, rocking an ascot, wearing those rich dude shoes that look like slippers. You know which ones I'm talking about. But then he says that he also tried the lowbrow approach to wisdom, madness and folly. He says, I took my woman out to Applebee's on a date night, got some Bourbon Street steak with the Oreo shake, got some whipped cream on the top two straws, one check, girl, I got you. Bougie like Natty, come on, you know it, in the styrofoam. No country music fans, all right, it just ends right there. Someone said, I tried that too. I got myself a pickup and a hunting dog, named my kids after NASCAR drivers. Yeah, buddy. I tried to know everything, but then I tried to know nothing. He tried wisdom, then he tried folly. He tried to become a savant, and then he tried to become a simple kind of man. And this is what he found. He said, I perceive that this also, but striving after the wind. It's the idea of a shepherd taking his crook and trying to catch the wind. He said that's what it felt like to know everything, and that's what it felt like to know nothing. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who increases in knowledge increases in sorrow. And he goes down the same path that our culture has been on since the Enlightenment. That says more knowledge will equal more power, but Solomon discovers that more knowledge just equals more pain. It actually says the more that I understood life, the more I had to medicate myself to try survive it, which historically is on par with the great philosophers, if you've studied themselves, those who've immersed themselves pondering the mysteries of the universe. Nietzsche and Camus and Kierkegaard all gave their lives to the intellectual pursuit of meaning and wound up miserably depressed. So Solomon says, if I can't find a meaning in intellectualism, maybe I can find meaning in hedonism or pleasure. Say pleasure. Oh, so much pleasure. I said in my heart, come now, I will test you with pleasure. Say pleasure. Enjoy yourself. Treat yourself. But behold, this also is vanity. A set of laughter it is mad and of pleasure, what use is it? And so now he tries his hand at comedy, tries his hand at laughter. And you got to remember, he's the king. And so he can find the funniest guy in all of Israel and say, you're the court jester in the palace tonight. So he's pulling in the greatest comedians. Come on, Dave Chappelle. Come on, Chris Rock. Come on, Nate Bargatze, Dane Cook, you name it. You're playing the palace tonight. Just make me giggle. Make me laugh. Say something funny night after night after night after night. I mean, how good is it to laugh, right? Some of you don't know based upon how you respond to my very funny jokes, okay? Man, some of my greatest moments in life are like belly laughing and getting silly, you know? The Bible even says that laughter, a cheerful heart, is good medicine. But Solomon looks at laughter and he wonders, what does laughter actually accomplish? He's laughed with the best of them and wonders, like, what use is it? Like, what does it do? Will laughing make your life any better than anyone else's? He's going, no, it's vanity. It's hevel. It's smoke. It's mist. It's fog. It's vapor. You laugh and then it's gone. It's temporary. And so he asks, what's different after you've laughed? It's an interesting question. What's changed once you've laughed? You're still exactly where you were before you laughed. Problems the same. Pain the same. Cancer diagnosis the same. Debt the same. Loneliness the same. Before a joke or after a joke. So why even joke at all? Is it really better to be happy and laughing and be totally ignorant to what's really going on in life? Like, is that really the good life? Is it not better to know reality and be miserable than to be happy in a fake reality that you create? So he's going, what is laughter? You can laugh it up. You can joke it up. You can be silly. You can just act like life is no big deal and shoot the breeze and giggle the days away. But it's hope. You won't take it from Solomon. Take it from this guy.
Thank you. I am two-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey. You know, when I go to sleep at night, I'm not just a guy going to sleep. I'm two-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey going to get some well-needed shut-eye. And when I dream, I don't just dream any old dream. No, sir. I dream about being three-time Golden Globe winning actor Jim Carrey. Because then I would be enough. It would finally be true. And I could stop this terrible search.
So you could be dumb and dumber and dumb and dumber. You could laugh with the best of them. Then you could keep searching. If you don't take it from him, maybe take it from Robin Williams, who was Miss Doubtfire and Flubber and the genie from Aladdin and Patch Adams, or Chris Farley, that you could laugh and laugh and laugh, but maybe laughter won't be strong enough. So maybe you got to try something stronger than laughter. Yeah, let's try something stronger than laughter. How about wine? Ecclesiastes, I searched with my heart how to cheer my body with wine. My heart's still guiding me with wisdom and how to lay hold on folly till I might see what was good for the children of man to do under heaven during the few days of their life. Translation, I got drunk and took notes. So Solomon becomes a wine guy, a sommelier, a bourbon aficionado, craft beer expert, a mixologist, a master distiller, and he doesn't just try a bottle or two. Homie plants a vineyard in his front yard. In Song of Solomon, he's writing this poem to his lover. Oh yeah, he tried his hand at poetry and writing too in his experiment. And in this poem, it says that Song of Solomon had a vineyard in Baal Harmon, and if you wanted to try its fruit, it's 1,000 shekels of silver. Don't worry, I've done the conversion rate. That's $18,000 a bottle. He is popping $18,000 bottle, people. And that means that there isn't a wine that this guy hasn't drank. There's not a dish that he hasn't tried. If there was a flavor profile, an ingredient list, an aroma, a buzz that was strong enough or could last long enough, don't you think that he'd have found it? But if you can't take it from old Solomon, take it from this guy, me, Anthony Bourdain. Bourdain filmed over 248 episodes of Food Network TV, traveling over 100 countries, trying food from every cuisine on every continent in the world. And if there was a dish or a meal or a side or an app or an entree or a dessert or a cocktail or a wine, don't you think that he'd have found it? But he didn't find it. Not one with a buzz that could last long enough. Not with a buzz that could cut through all of the pain and the loneliness and the isolation. He couldn't find it. And so in the end, he took his own life in a hotel room all by himself. So there's Anthony Bourdain. And there's King Solomon, who've been on crazy benders, spent time doing excessive eating and drinking. We're talking shots. Everybody. Every day, Solomon is living a beer commercial. He's been red wine drunk and white wine drunk and day drunk and took the hair off the dog and got drunk again. And he says it's mist. It's smoke. You have fun for a little while, but then it's gone. So then at some point, Solomon gets tired of waking up with a hangover in the back of an El Camino on the way to Mexico with a new tattoo. And he says, I guess I better make something of myself. And so he turns from wine to progress. Say progress. Yeah, he starts to work really hard. Verse 4, I made great works, and I built houses and planted vineyards for myself, and I made myself gardens and parks, and I planted in them all kinds of fruit trees, and I made myself pools for which to water the forest of the growing trees, and I bought male and female slaves and had slaves who were born in my house, and I also had great possessions of herds and flocks, more than any who had been before me in Jerusalem, and I also gathered for myself silver and gold, the treasure of kings and provinces. I got singers, both men and women, and many concubines, the delight of the sons of men, and so I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem, and my wisdom remained with me. So tell me again about that work project that you're working on, that you're most proud of. Tell me again about that biggest deal that you've ever signed. Tell me again about the most complex thing that you've ever imagined, what you got like employee of the month for. Tell me what got you this coffee mug right here. What got you this? Tell me. Oh, because for Solomon, it was the temple. You know, making the temple that looked like this. And it took him 7 years. The book of 1 Chronicles 29 details the materials. There's 190 tons of gold, 380 tons of silver, 675 tons of bronze, 3,800 tons of iron, onyx, turquoise, many fine stones. Scholars estimate that it cost somewhere between 30 million to 300 million to $300 billion, somewhere in that general vicinity. And so old King Solomon has under his belt managing something like a $300 billion project. What are you working on this week? And that's not it for Solomon. That's just what he began with. The guy doesn't stop at building buildings. He begins to garden. And not like we garden, like I'm sure your little azaleas are busting, okay? But Solomon didn't plant a bush. Homie planted a forest. We're talking national parks. If you go to Jerusalem today, there are these massive craters in the earth called the pools of Solomon that he used to water his forest. And so I'm sure your little above the ground pool in the backyard is real cute, okay? Did you put craters in the earth? I don't think so. They're still here 2,000 years later, so you get your jacuzzi, mama, okay? Little jacuzzi and hang out in it, but did you have the pools of King Solomon? That's not all. He built some fortified city walls in Hazor, Megiddo, and Gezer. He expanded the walls of Jerusalem to enlarge the footprint of the capital city. He constructed a fleet of ships at Ezion Geber on the Red Sea. He built terraces throughout Jerusalem to create a high ground for military advantage. He built storage cities. You heard me right, storage cities. You got a storage unit. He's got a storage city. Storage cities for chariots, for military and economic holdings. And so what if you really do it? Huh? What if you climb the ladder all the way to the top? What if you get it done? What if you make your boss so proud? What if everything on the list? What if you hit your sales quota and then you surpass your sales quota? What if you get to that level and then the next level? What if you break every record? What if you're the legend within the industry? Then will it be enough? Because Solomon is going, I did it, and it was smoke. It was smoke. It was meaningless. So meaningless. But if you can't take it from Solomon, take it from these guys instead.
Why do I have 3 Super Bowl rings and still think there's something greater out there for me? I mean, maybe a lot of people would say, hey man, this is what it is. I reached my goal, my dream, my life is me. I thank God. It's got to be more than this. I mean, this can't be what it's all cracked up to be. I mean, I've done it. I'm 27. And what else is there for me?
What's the answer?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew.
This is not a fulfilling I think I said something after a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes, that kind of euphoric feeling. And like to win the Byron Nelson Championship at home, I literally worked my entire life to become good at golf, to have an opportunity to win that tournament. And you win it, you celebrate, get to hug my family, my sister's there. It's such an amazing moment. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to eat for dinner? Life goes on. Is it great to be able to win tournaments and to accomplish the things I have in the game of golf? Yeah. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about, because it's literally worked my entire life to become good at this sport, and to have that kind of sense of accomplishment, I think is a pretty cool feeling. To get to live out your dreams is very special. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not out here to inspire the next generation of golfers. I'm not here to inspire somebody else to be the best player in the world, because what's the point? This is not a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of like the deepest, places of your heart. There's a lot of people that make it to what they thought was going to fulfill them in life, and then you get there and all of a sudden you get to number one in the world, and then they're like, what's the point? And I really do believe that, because what is the point? You're like, why do I want to win this tournament so bad? That's something that I wrestle with on a daily basis. It's like showing up at the Masters every year. It's like, why do I want to win this golf tournament so badly? Why do I want to win the Open Championship so badly? I don't know. Because if I win, it's going to be awesome for about 2 minutes. And then we're going to get to the next week, and it's going to be like, hey, you won 2 majors this year. How important is it for you to win the FedEx Cup playoffs? And it's just like, we're back here again, So we really do. We work so hard for such little money.
So you make VP. What's the point? And then you make partner. What's the point? And then you get the corner office. But what's the point? Then you get equity. What's the point? Then you cash in your stock options. But what's the point? And your name is on the door. But what's the point? And you buy the business and you run it yourself. But what's the point? Are you going to go as far in your career as those guys went in theirs? As Solomon went in his? And if you do, what's the point? So Kohelet decides that maybe there's got to be more to life than success and work. He starts to build houses. He goes full on Chip and Joanna Gaines. The minimum, the Bible mentions Solomon having 4 houses. You remember how it took him 7 years to build the temple? Well, it took him 13 years to build his palace. That means that it took him almost twice as long, and it was almost twice as big. He spent more time and presumably more money building his house than God's house. He had minimum 4, so you can imagine he's got the penthouse in the city, and he's got the vacation house on the water, and the ski in and the ski out in Vail, and the 10,000 square foot home on the golf course in the country club. And he says, it's smoke. It's smoke. You can type Zillow all day long. It's smoke. Well, maybe his problem is that he just didn't have enough money. Maybe he spent all of his money on houses, and now he's house poor. You shouldn't have done that, Solomon. You should have budgeted better, okay? Some furniture, still live a little. Okay, well, let's talk about his money. Maybe if his net worth goes up, his self-worth will too. And so Solomon starts to get that bread. He starts to stack them Benjis. So Solomon's bank account, remember, which he kept in a storage city. Let's just talk about it for a second. Almost every scholar estimates his net worth being something between $2 to $3 trillion. Let me hear you say trillion. Really enunciate that. Say trillion. Yeah, that's great. $1 trillion. Now, the human mind is not cognitively able to actually grasp a number that big. Like we hear million and it just kind of vanishes after that. But the dispersity between million and billion is bigger than you could ever imagine. I've talked about this so many times. And then the dispersity between a billion and a trillion is just astronomically larger than you could begin to conceive. This makes Solomon 2.5 times more wealthy than Elon Musk. There isn't a scholar who thinks that Elon Musk's fortune had anything on Solomon's fortune in the ancient world. And so we'll just look at what Elon can do with money because that's more conceivable for us. So let's just like talk $750 billion. I got some images on the screen for you. Elon Musk could buy all the teams in the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and the top 5 European soccer leagues combined, and still have $100 billion left over. Or if you want to do something else with the money, he could buy the Walt Disney Company, Netflix, Coca-Cola, and all 5 major airlines. Or if that didn't sound like a good time, he could purchase every single house, townhouse, and condo in the entire county of San Diego, California. You can't afford one of them. His wealth is greater than Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett combined. He's got more money than the GDPs of 150 of the 195 countries around the globe. Elon Musk is richer than 83% of all nations. This is crazy. If you stacked his net worth on $100 bills, it would go higher than the International Space Station. This is the one that I've not been able to stop thinking about. If Elon Musk spent $1 million per day, it would take him more than 2,040 years to go broke. That means that Elon Musk could have started spending $1 million a day since the time of Jesus, and he still wouldn't have run out of money yet. So just imagine, hey, y'all wanna have a day? We're gonna drop $1 million. It's gonna be a big time. And guess what? Tomorrow, we're gonna run it back again, all right? Just milli, a milli, a milli, a milli for 2,040 years. But you tell me what's gonna happen when you get to that number. You tell me what 6 figures is gonna do. You tell me what 7 figures is gonna do. You tell me when that number is staring you back in your bank account, how alive it's gonna make you feel. You see, our whole world, our entire economy is held up by this little lie that what I want is just a little out of reach, and if I had more money or stuff or things, then I'd be more happy. But in the great words of the great prophet Tupac Shakur, more money, more problems. If you won't take it from Solomon, you won't take it from Tupac, take it from this guy.
What's something difficult you're going through that people don't often see?
I don't think most people would want to be me. They may think they would want to be me, but they don't. They don't know. They don't understand.
How are you doing?
I mean, overall, okay. In the grand scheme of things, I can't complain.
Do you get lonely?
Sometimes, but my kids and friends keep me company.
So not existential.
There are many nights I sleep alone. I don't have to, but I do.
What does money buy you? Overall, okay. What does 750 billion buy? Overall, okay. The text then says that he had slaves. Who had slaves? Who had servants? Who had slaves? Solomon experiences leisure like you couldn't imagine. He sits back and he relaxes. He enjoys the pleasure of his wealth. He's so lazy that one servant kills his food, another prepares his food, another brings his food, another cuts his food up, another chews it in his mouth, and then mama birds it into Solomon's. Just leisure like you couldn't imagine. Just getting massaged and fanned and just waited on hand over foot. Then he begins to throw these parties, like the largest parties that the world has ever seen. And I know you're like, well, Solomon wasn't doing it right. Like he partied, but did he partay? Okay. And this guy partayed because the Bible records like the food spread at these parties. And if you put it together, these parties, each one could feed 15 to 20,000 people. And the Bible records that for an extended period of time, longer than we know, 7 days of the week, he is just getting after it, just every night. And he's not just like, ripping a little cute Spotify playlist. These are my best tunes, okay? He buys the band. Taylor Swift, you're playing the Palace tonight. Benson Boone tonight. Zach Bryan, Billie Eilish, Morgan Wallen tonight. Drake tonight. Night after night, day after day, it's just a party with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people and food and music and dancing. And then he does so much partying that eventually he realizes that he's bored doing nothing, and so he gets into what he's infamous for. He gets into women. Solomon had 700 wives, the Bible records, which, how does one do such a thing, okay? But he did. The text says he had 700 wives and 300 concubines at his beck and call. Now, some scholars think that this is a Hebrew exaggeration, and this is common in ancient literature where you would take something like 70 and you would add a 0 to it to make it astronomical. So maybe that's what's going on in the text, although most scholars don't think so. They don't think that it's 70 and 30. They think genuinely this guy might have had 700 wives and 300 concubines. And Ecclesiastes 2 for sure says he had many concubines, the delight of the sons of man, which literally translates so provocative. This is how it would read if you really understood Hebrew. Sex slaves, you know the kind of stuff that guys like. That's what he had, sex slaves. Oh, you know the kind of stuff that guys like. This means that Solomon experienced in his life uninhibited sexual fantasy, like on par with like nothing any guy in this room has ever known. He made Hugh Hefner look like a nun. Just a little nun. It would have been like if you'd have brought up Hugh's 6 little blonde girlfriends to Solomon, he'd be like, 6? I married 6 last week. What are you talking? 6? Homie, child's play. He said, I've married Moabites and Ammonites and Hittites and Israelites, every skin color, body type, every accent and hair color, every height and shape and size that a search engine can generate, every position you could imagine. Solomon didn't watch the video. He did it in real life. Ecclesiastes 3:10 is such a provocative verse. And whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I kept from my heart no pleasure. Y'all, this is straight Ariana Grande. I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Okay, this is King Solomon. Imagine having so much money and so much power and so much influence that if I see someone's shoes, snap my fingers and they're on my feet. If I see a girl, snap my fingers, she's in my bed. I see a car, snap my fingers, it's in my driveway. No inhibitions, no guardrails, no moral restraint, no budget constrictions. Desire felt, desire acted upon. Scratch, itch, see, get, want, have, craving, satisfied, fantasy, reality, instantaneously, everything all at once, right now. I see it, I want it, I take it. And Solomon says, it's smoke. It's smoke. I could have anything that I wanted whenever I wanted, and I had everything that I wanted every time that I wanted it, every woman, every desire, every fantasy, everything. It's smoke, meaningless, nothing. But if you can't take it from Solomon, take it from quite possibly the most worldly, secular, pleasure-seeking person on the planet, Dan Bazillion, in this interview titled The Dark Side of a Decade of Hedonism.
I was having sex with 3 girls a day on average, at least at a minimum. I mean, if I only had sex with 2 girls in a day, that was like, we're having. I think it's like better to have a monogamous relationship, strange as that's coming from me.
First off, I can't believe that people like that exist. Second of all, you ain't gonna be able to run that kind of experiment. So take it from Solomon, take it from Dan. It's smoke. He says, I considered. When, and there was and I found out that it's smoke, it's wind. someone try that I haven't tried? Who can experiment with something that I haven't experienced with? What's there left to do? And he says, only what's already been done. And this is the part, guys, today that is so crazy and terrifying. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night. This is the stuff that I wish that you really got, is we can't afford to run the experiment anywhere close to the level of King Solomon. We don't have the money or the influence or the power or the fortune or the fame. And the scary part is that most of us will never be able to run the experiment, but we try. And what's so terrifying about that is you won't get to the end. You don't have enough money to get to the end. There won't be enough sexual fantasy nights to get to the end. You won't be able to try every bottle. You won't be able to eat at every restaurant. You won't be able to build every house. You won't be able to do it. And so you will live on this delusional rat race where there's this lie of believing that if only I could get there, it will do it. But you won't get there, so then you'll never learn that it won't do it. We never get the house. We never get the number. We never get the job. We never get the girl. We never take the trip. We never buy all the stuff. And so we spend our whole lives believing that if we just could, that it would make everything happy. But Solomon's going, no, I did it, and it's smoke. When the fog cleared and the crowds went home and the lights came up on the experiment, there was nothing on the other side. It was just mist and vapor and smoke. And today, guys, just hear me say this. Solomon is preaching to you. Are you going to listen? Jim Carrey is preaching you today. Are you going to listen? Robin Williams is preaching to you today. Will you listen? Chris Farley is preaching to you today. Will you listen? Anthony Bourdain is preaching to you today. Oh. They are preaching to you today. Will you listen? Koalef, King Solomon is preaching to you today. Will you listen? Listen, a wise person learns from their mistakes. A wiser person learns from other people's mistakes. Life is too short to run all the experiments yourself. The dumbest thing you could do today would be repeating the same experiment, the ancient experiment that King Solomon already tried. You can live and learn, or you can learn in order to live. Only the fool thinks you can't learn from someone else. And I don't know how many times, I really don't know how many times you've heard some version of this message before. That there's nothing out there in this world that is going to satisfy. But how many times are you going to walk out that door thinking that you're going to find it this time? How many days is it going to take? How many sermons do you have to hear? How many ladders do you have to climb? How many years do you have to start? How many purchases do you have to make to know that it's smoke? Solomon gets schizophrenic at the end of the chapter. It's almost like this dude who's shell-shocked, like, what did I just do? And he's like looking back on his life as this like jaded old man in verses 12 through 23. And it's like all these whiplash moments that don't make any sense. He's like, none of it matters. It's smoke, it's all smoke. But then he's like, full stop, wisdom is better than folly and light is better than dark. He's like, it was smoke to be wise and smoke to be a fool, but maybe slightly less smoky to be wise. He's like, but who really knows? Because wise people and foolish people get the same fate in the end. They both die, both of them dead, totally dead. Everyone's dead, so what's it really matter? He's a real charmer, this guy. And then he's like, I hated my toil because I worked so hard, and in the end, I just gave all my money to someone who didn't work for it at all. And who knows if they'll be wise or if they'll be a fool, but then I also spent so much in folly and laziness, and I got bored and wasted so much time, and so work is missed and relaxation is missed, but I'd rather work than be a bum. I guess it's slightly less misty. He's just all over the place. And essentially what he's saying is that life is fog and life is mist, but it's better to walk through the fog and the mist with your eyes open than with your eyes closed. So he says, open your eyes. And I'm pleading with you today to open your eyes, because death is the problem. It's what he comes to, that death is the problem. It's the big problem, the biggest problem, the problem that gets everybody. Everybody dies, everybody, 100% success rate, this thing called death. It gets the wise and the fool, those in light and darkness, humans and animals, the rich and the poor, those who succeed and those who don't. So what's the point? If everything burns and it's smoke in the end, why save for decades when the market could crash when you need the funds? Why work hard to buy the dream house to have to downsize when you're 50? Why be faithful to your partner to just have your spouse of 25 years leave you for someone younger with tighter skin? Why do any of it when you just die, when everyone dies? Koeleth is saying so profoundly that death is the problem that you and I cannot ignore. And so you must find a version of meaning and happiness that can withstand your death, because it's coming. And so you got to learn to live life backwards. You got to start with the end in mind. It sounds so profound, but then he says this. Yeah, so there's nothing better for a person than he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. What? We're back here again? I don't know how that reads to you, but that kind of sounds like to me. So I guess, do you want some cheese dip, okay? I guess that's... This guy's just all over the place. But when you step back and you look at this scripture from 10,000 feet, you see something in Hebrew that you don't normally catch in English. You see, Hebrew scholars note something that we usually miss in our English Bibles, and it's the excessive use of this word, I. Let me hear you say I. I in the text, it appears so much that it's almost unprecedented in the Hebrew scriptures. One Hebrew scholar notes it's visually stunning. Another said it's so redundant, it's laughable. It reads like a narcissistic comedy or play. 8 times in 5 verses, he says, I built, I made, I said, I tried, I bought, I built. I appears 18 times in the whole section. If you add in me, myself, and I, over 30 times, I is mentioned. God is mentioned once. It's actually in a negative light. I can't believe that God would give me this life to live. Now, if you look at Ecclesiastes 2 and you compare it with Genesis 2, the accounts are striking. You see the difference of what happens when I is at the center versus when God is at the center. And so in Genesis, God planted a garden for man. In Ecclesiastes, I planted a garden for myself. In Genesis, God made streams to water the garden. And in Ecclesiastes, I made reservoirs to water my garden. In Genesis, God gave fruit-bearing trees pleasing to the eye. In Ecclesiastes, I planted forests to water the vineyards for myself. In Genesis, God brought the woman to the man as a gift. In Ecclesiastes, I bought for myself slaves and singers and many concubines. In Genesis, God gave as a gift dominion to man over all of creation. And in Ecclesiastes, I became greater than anyone else on earth. You see, my friends, Solomon is not just running an experiment. He is not just trying to have a good time or follow his heart or conduct an experiment. He's trying to recreate the Garden of Eden. And he's trying to create it by himself, for himself, without God. He's trying to engineer the kingdom without the king. All the things that the king would provide and create, all that is good and desirable and pleasurable and fulfilling, without the king. And what it turns into is this anti-Eden. You see, when Yahweh, you know the story, when he builds earth and the garden, he creates all, and he steps back and he says that it's tov, which means it is good, oh, so very good. When Solomon builds his life, he steps back and says, it's hevel, smoke, temporary, meaningless, foggy, misty vapor, nothing. What he finds is that you can try and get all that you want from the Garden of Eden, but the garden isn't the garden without the gardener. Life is nothing without God. You can build all you want. You can try fruit from every tree, take a bite out of every apple. But in this sin-infected world under the sun, every last apple leads to death when God isn't in the equation. Because we are born into this life under the sun, with a longing in us, my friends, that nothing under the sun can satisfy. And so if you can't hear it from Solomon, hear it from C.S. Lewis. That if we find in ourselves a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, it must mean we're made for another world. The scent of a flower we have not yet found, the echo of a tune we have not yet heard, news from a country we have never yet visited, homesickness for a place that we've never been. And if you can't hear from C.S. Lewis, hear from Jesus. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world, yet forfeits his soul? What can a man give in exchange for his soul? Come on, let's pray together. Jesus, would you open our eyes today? Would you let us see it today? God, would you let us feel it today? God, I pray that a heaviness would rush over this room today. I pray that there would be this existential crisis that happens today. I pray that there would be this wake up that happens. That people would snap out of it for just a second and go, wait, what am I doing? What am I pursuing? What am I chasing? What am I believing is gonna give me the good life? God, I pray that we would look at all the things that we've exalted above you. All the things that make our bodies and our flesh and our mind feel good for 2 seconds, but then leave so much carnage in the past. God, would we see that what we ultimately want behind every door, what we're looking for is you. Would you teach us, God, today that Eden is impossible? The garden is impossible without the gardener. Give us a vision for a life that can withstand our death. Let us be people who open our hands and who lay everything down that would stand in the way of receiving the life that you want to place within our hands. While it is preaching, will you listen? In Jesus' name.